Are we ready? We're live.
Good. All right. All right. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations. 10% who look like they have gotten out of here as quickly as they possibly. No, we're okay. We're okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. At this time, we'll recall to order the meeting of the Suffern Central Board of Education for Tuesday, April 18th, 2023. Let the record reflect all board members are present. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Again, congratulations to the top 10%. 1.08, our budget workshop. I will turn it over to Dr. Castellane.
Good evening. Waiting for it. Hello? Yes. Good evening. Tonight we're going to talk about our next budget workshop. And you saw a couple of these slides in previous workshops. So tonight we're really going to focus on a couple of different things. So for starters, as far as the budget goes, our expenditures and our revenues, which were presented already, we do not have any change for that in tonight's workshop. It's just going to be a quick overview of the RPC boilers, which we talked about previously in our second workshop. We're going to go over the tax cap levy, and then at that point, I will turn it over to Dr. Casado to talk about PPS and some other initiatives. So the RP Connor boiler, we talked about this prior. This was a project that was passed by the voters 2 years ago. We only received the update, or the approval, I should say, from New York State Ed in October. When we went back with the cost of inflation, as everyone knows, materials were then increased. So we are going back out to the voters to ask for an increase in the amount of money that we need to pull out of the capital reserve. So this is not a request for the voters to approve additional money to be put into a capital reserve. This money is already sitting in a capital reserve, and we would just like their approval to pull it out so we can complete the RP Connor boiler project. Next is the tax levy information over the last 3 years. Again, a slide that you have seen, and I feel this slide is important just to see where we have been over the last 3 years. As you can see, everything pretty much revolves around that 1% number. And this year we're slightly lower than last year. At this time, I would like to ask Dr. Castaldo to come up and talk about some of the initiatives that we have placed in the budget regarding PPS.
This on? Can you guys hear me? Okay. So I'm here to talk about not necessarily just PPS, but the delicate balance between general ed and PPS services. So we've all probably seen this RTI kind of triangle. This details that in a better way, shows you how tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 work together to give students their basic level of instruction, their universal level of instruction, and then how we intervene if they're not doing well in that level of instruction. In all of the research, it shows that all students get that tier 1, that universal level of instruction, and then 10 to 15% of the students need to move to tier 2 for instruction, and about 3 to 5% move to tier 3. Special ed is then on top of this. So that 3 to 5% isn't the special ed level. Special ed's actually resting on top of this after that. Now we follow this kind of give and take balance between gen ed and special ed and intervention and RTI services for all subject areas, basically. Anything that New York State requires, we're doing this in. Today, what I'm focusing on is literacy. So we all know the 5 pillars of literacy. Do we think this comes out and move? I actually do better if I move around. Okay, so we all know that, better. We all know the 5 pillars of literacy. This came out in about the year 2000 from the federal government, and they identified the 5 essential areas that students need instruction in to become good readers. And those were phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. Unfortunately, when this came out, it was a little light on how exactly to address this and in what proportions we should address this. So what's come out more recently, and I'm sure everybody's heard of, is the science of reading. And this has just exploded the world of teaching literacy. What's good about this science of reading is it really tells us, yes, students need all 5 of these, but in those beginning elementary years, K-2 especially, but even beyond that to 5th grade, students heavily need phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency. We need to heavily directly instruct those skills. We need to make sure that that foundation is strong in order to move on to the other pieces well and to move on as a skilled reader throughout your entire career, because you learn skills here that you use the entire reading career until you get to be like old like me. You'll still be using those skills. So science of reading, again, is telling me I need to directly instruct this. I need to make sure all students are getting this. I need to give quick and fast intervention if they're not getting this. And I need to make sure that when I'm instructing it, it's systematically, directly, and through multiple modalities, or you'll also hear that called multisensory. So that means through things like hearing, seeing, touching, and kinesthetic, whole body. So that's what the science of reading is telling us. So when we look at the 5 pillars of literacy, we need to break this down a little. Now, how exactly am I teaching this? What exactly does it mean? Oh, that's right. To point that way. So the simple view of reading, down and dirty, really easy, is that skilled reading is word recognition and language comprehension. So we all pretty much understand that. You need to be able to decode words and you need to understand words. That doesn't give me enough meat to teach you, however. That gives me just 2 pieces. What exactly does that mean? Well, we have this lovely Scarborough's rope. By the end of the presentation, I'll realize I have to point behind me. By the end. So Scarborough's rope, Scarborough is a researcher. And this has been out for probably at least 10 years, probably longer than that. It breaks down, excuse me, what word recognition is, and what language comprehension is. Sorry, I'm in this of water. Sorry, I was sick the entire break. So word recognition is actually knowing sounds, knowing letters, and knowing words. And the stronger this is, the more automatic your word recognition is. Language comprehension is your background knowledge, your vocabulary, your knowledge of sentence and sentence structure, your reasoning skills, and your mental model or picture that's being painted by the passage. And the more strategic that is, the more skilled your reading is. So this tells me that simple view of reading can actually break down in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 areas. 8 discrete areas that need to be taught differently in order to ensure that you end up as a skilled reader. Anyone ends up as a skilled reader. As you can see, this set here really lays the foundation for the other set. So no matter how strong you are here, if this is the issue or any type of an issue, you're going to have difficulty becoming a skilled reader. And again, this is what we need to address in those first crucial elementary years. So I want you to keep all of this in mind, because when I'm talking about any assessment or any instruction and intervention we use, all of it is addressing one of these 8 things, looking at each piece of that rope. Okay, so let's talk about tier one. Now, again, if you remember that kind of pyramid I showed you, tier one is that bottom. It's the universal piece that everyone needs and is being done in all of our elementary through high school classrooms. This is a gen ed classroom. What do we use to assess literacy in our gen ed classrooms? Well, we have several different things that we use. We use the Teachers College Reading and Writing Project assessments. We use the DRA. We use the Lexia Core 5 rapid assessment that assesses on the computer. We use things like the Core Phonics Survey, and we use the NWEA. What's really exciting about the NWEA is this year, instead of just doing reading fluency and reading comprehension, they have now initiated a dyslexia screener. That was done with all of our students, K through second grade, some of the third graders, so that we could really get a handle on the students that were really having difficulty with that bottom piece of the rope, the 3 on the bottom, the word recognition. Now, what's really nice about things like the NWEA is it's computer-based, and after you give the assessment, it spits out all the ways that the child would respond. What instruction should we give given the needs that are there? So it's foolproof. So that's our literacy assessments. And I should say that this is not a complete set list. It is the highlights of what we use. Let's look at tier 1 instruction. So tier 1 instruction, again, we need to think about all those pieces of the rope that need to be covered. One of the first one was sounds. If you look up here, this over here is the logo for Sounds in Motion. Sounds in Motion is the push-in program our speech therapists use when they push into the K-2 classrooms to ensure that students have a grasp of the sounds. Now, when I think of phonemic awareness and sounds, old enough, if you guys remember Sesame Street and it kind of throws all the sounds at you, that's what that skill is. Things like Sounds in Motion do that piece. And all of our speech therapists push into the classrooms, K-2, to work with our students on that. Another one here that does sounds that's really exciting is Imagine Learning. Imagine Learning is used primarily with E&L students. It does 2 pieces of the rope. For now, we're going to talk about the fact that it does the sounds. Because if you don't know the sounds, you can't figure out how to decode the words. So those 2 do sounds. Another piece of the rope that up there was phonics. Lexia Core 5 Reading is a phonics program that our students have been using. Lee, this is one of yours, so probably 7-10 years at least. Right. This is another computer-based program. So again, I spoke before in the beginning about how there's an assessment in that. That assessment takes the child, it's computer-based, and puts them into the correct programming for them. So that's one that works with the phonics piece. We have a pilot this year of U-Fly Foundations that again works with the phonics piece. So I'm off the sounds, I'm on the second one on the actual decoding of the words and the phonics. And we've been using for 3 years now, Hegarty Phonemic Awareness and phonics in all of our K-3 classrooms. So those are some of the pieces of the pie that we're using for literacy instruction in tier 1. 3,000 in the buildings that used it. Things like the Reading and Writing Project and all of those rich texts that children read in class. Because again, we need both pieces. We need decoding, but we also need text structure, language, sentence structure, and that's how we address that. Okay. Let's look at tiers 2 and 3. So tiers 2 and 3 assessment takes a different look because tier 2 and 3 is when we start to look at either small group or individual students. When we look at small group or individual students, one of the first things, again, we look to say is, okay, what's a way to screen for dyslexia? So when you screened for dyslexia on the NWEA, that's a screener that can be used K2. What if you're beyond that age and you're still struggling? Or you're newly shown to us to be struggling? Well, we have 2 different ways we look at that. Dyslexia screeners look at 2 things. They look at your phonemic awareness and they look at your RAN, which is your rapid automatic naming. How quickly you can name letters or objects or something like that that are presented to you. The way we test for those 2 things are the CTOP, which can be done by a teacher or a speech therapist, and the RAN-RAS, which is done by our psychologists. Beyond that, we have things like this, which is the SRI from System 44, that also tests students. We have the WIST, which is used in the Wilson program to get an idea of a child's phonemic awareness, phonics, decoding skills. And also we use the Wyatt and the DAS as 2 examples. So that's how we're going to test in Tier 2 or Tier 3 to see what your needs are. How are we going to address those needs? Okay, this is where we have a lot of different pieces to use, and this is not all of them that they use. All right, let's start with sounds. Aerobics right here is a computerized program that our speech therapists use. They will pull you out separately to work on phonemic awareness if that is your issue. Again, we have Imagine Learning for the E&L students that will get more specific and more individualized, and does add in at that point more of that upper language comprehension, background knowledge, sentences, text structure piece as well. So we have those 2 that do that. System 44 is an online program that we use as well. Anybody know why it's called System 44? Anybody? There are 44 discrete sounds in the English language with 26 letters of the alphabet, but they combine to make or individually make 44 separate sounds. So that's why that's called System 44, because that program specializes in you hearing the sounds and learning the sounds. Beyond that, we use programs such as Read 180. We use Sunday System. We use Spire, which is a really quick intervention for students who maybe are just struggling at one specific point. You might have been able to do sounds and words fine until we got to multisyllabic words. This can be used for that. We use the combination of the Wilson reading system at all different levels for all different students. We use Nymanville OJ, and now we've started using IMSE OJ, which is a brand new one that's been available the last 2 or 3 years. What we like about this is all of the materials are online and easy to use for our teachers. Professional development. For the last 8 years, PPS has offered a summer institute. It's been in various different areas of PPS and special ed instruction, but what we focused on heavily is OG. So this is Nymanville OG, who came in for a couple of summers and trained our teachers. And then we've used the Rose Institute in Manhattanville for the last 2 years, doing both a level 1 and level 2 course from the Rose Institute. And we currently have 3 teachers who are finishing their OG practicum from the Rose Institute and will be done in June. So we'll have 3 more associate level teachers in that through that. This summer, PPS is doing an IMSE OG course. We will be offering those teachers at the end of that the Fidelity Certificate, which is an extra 15 hours beyond the course. We currently have 17 teachers right now doing the Fidelity course, and they will then be offered the practicum when they are done with that. A practicum in any of these courses takes a year to do, a school year full. So next year we'll have more people doing their practicum. We also have Wilson Reading System, Foundations, and Just Words training that's been given to our teachers. We currently, next year, we'll have 2 people doing their practicum in Wilson, and then we have 2 people who are training in Foundations and 2 people who are training in Just Words. And the point of these are, this is just elementary phonics, and this is multisyllabic words and above. So if you're doing just elementary or just secondary, these are helpful for you to have, even if you're teaching science and you want to teach how to say biology or read biology. We've also done Sunday System training and have several teachers who are using that in their classrooms. It's a great program to use for resource room. How do we support our students, our teachers beyond that professional development? This is hard to just take the class and move forward and teach your students. It's not easy to know what you're doing all the time. So we have used a multisensory literacy specialist. This is someone who holds an associate level cert in OG and is advising our teachers on how to move forward. We are using currently Dr. Molly Ness to instruct us and help us with our literacy program. And next year, we are taking that UFly pilot, which is a phonics program, and we're moving that pilot district-wide K-2, correct? K-2, and we will have a UFly implementer, someone who will help all of our teachers with planning those lessons and moving forward. Lastly, sometimes you need some assistance no matter how much instruction we give. Sometimes you need some assistance because your reading level maybe isn't at the book that you want to read. So we have ways to help students with that as well. Every child in the district has Snap and Read and Co-Writer on their Chromebook. Snap and Read will read anything on your Chromebook, and Co-Writer will allow you to type in and do predictive text. We also have Learning Ally for all students. Learning Ally has every single text or novel available if a student wants to. It's basically like listening to an audiobook. So students have, anyone can use that. And we have Bookshare, which you do have to be registered for, but once you have it, that's even every textbook. So any textbook that's being used is even available through Bookshare if you need some assistance with that. We also have scanning or reading pens. Those are these over here that will read any piece of paper that's in front of you that's not on the computer. So during COVID, we were able to use Snap and Read quite a bit. Everybody was putting everything onto the computer and having the students read it that way. Now we're back to giving out reading pens that will read any ditto, any envelope, any piece or anything, any text in front of you, they'll read. So we're using that. We do have students where reading will always be an issue. They have things like picture boards. This is a PEX picture board to kind of move a student through their day. And this is a TOBI, which is augmentative communication that students can pick a picture and it will speak and communicate for them. So that's, in a nutshell, very quickly, the reading program so far. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks, Dr. Castaldo. Are you going back up? No? Okay. Oh, no, I just didn't know if there was any more budget, if you had anything else with the budget presentation, but okay. So then are there any questions for Dr. Castellane regarding the budget? No? Okay. All right. Well, thank you both for the presentation. And we'll move along. 1.09 student report. Not sure if oh, he's still here.
Dedication.
Yes, there you go. Okay. Regarding events at the high school, last night, over 50 students were inducted into the Science Honor Society. It's the most in the program's history since it began in 1991. Wednesday at 5:30 is the STIR Symposium in the school library, where students will present their research ranging from male breast cancer to Kawasaki disease. This Thursday is the National Art Honor Society induction at 7 in the auditorium. The Suffern High School Operation Smile Club will be hosting a walk this Sunday, April 23rd at the Suffern High School track to honor the legacy of Jacqueline Zangrilli and raise money for the Jacqueline Zangrilli Scholarship. There's a $10 fee for entry at the walk, and snacks and refreshments will be offered for purchase at the event. Next Monday, the 24th at 7 p.m. is the English and History Honor Society induction. Also Monday, the 24th are the Black and Latinx Achievement Awards at RCC. Next Wednesday, the 26th at 7:30 p.m. is the String Extravaganza. Next Tuesday at 7:30 in the auditorium is the Band Bonanza. Friday, April 28th is Junior Prom at the Crown Plaza. And finally, the first week of May starts AP exams. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Superintendent comments? We missed the minutes. All right, hold tight.
Take care of those minutes.
Hold on. 1.10, minutes of the regular meeting of March 21st, 2023. Do I have a motion? Mr. Donnelly? Mr. Frazier? All right, Mr. Frazier, Donnelly, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? All right. Thank you. Superintendent comments.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for bearing with us with some technical snafus a little bit here, because obviously we're in a different location than where we normally are, and there's a lot that goes into the technical setup of holding the streaming meeting in the cafeteria. So, Eric, I want to thank you very much for all your help and your team as well. Thank you for your efforts. I'd like to begin my superintendent's comments this evening by recognizing 13 years as principal of Suffern High School. Mr. Breen is going to be moving to central office to take on additional responsibilities beginning July 1. From now until July 1, I'm sure there'll be a lot of accolades, a lot of words of appreciation for your service to Suffern High School. And I want to thank you for everything that you've done. And what a wonderful demonstration of just the excellence in education that we have here at Suffern, as demonstrated a few moments ago when we had our top 10% ceremony emceed by Mr. Breen. So, of course, with Mr. Breen going to central office, we need to do a search for a new principal. And we had a rigorous process. We started off in January with several focus groups that I conducted with student groups, staff members. We had a survey that went out to the community. We really tried to get an understanding of what folks were looking for in the next principal of Suffern High School. We had a wide variety of folks that applied for the position. The competition was quite fierce. I am happy to announce that I'm being joined up here. If you're wondering why this individual is standing next to me, Mr. Paul Adler is going to be our next principal of Suffern High School. I'd like to welcome him. I have a few words that I'd like to introduce, but first of all, a round of applause. So Mr. Adler comes to us with more than 20 years of experience in education across a variety of roles and organizations. Mr. Adler brings a unique perspective to school leadership and fresh ideas on how to support student success in high school and beyond. Mr. Adler began his career as a math teacher in California before moving to New York to continue teaching at the Brooklyn Preparatory High School, where he later was appointed as an assistant principal. He then served as the founding principal of Achievement First Brooklyn High School, working to ensure post-secondary success for all students, many of whom were the first in their families to attend college. During his tenure, he oversaw school discipline, created systems for attendance monitoring, hired and supervised staff, supported students' academic success, and fostered programs to support student-positive school culture. Mr. Adler has most recently served as Senior Director at Building Excellence Schools, an organization where the work is focused on providing high-impact support, coaching, and training to educational leaders across our nation. Originally from the Boston area, Mr. Adler received his undergraduate degree in quantitative economics from Tufts University, his master's degree in mathematics education from Harvard University, and his master's in educational leadership from Columbia Teachers College, where he's also pursuing his doctorate. Mr. Adler resides in Westchester with his wife and 2 children, and we welcome him to the Suffern Central School District and as principal at Suffern High School. Congratulations. You want to say a few words? Sure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gunderson, and the entire community. It is just an honor and pleasure to be here tonight to start to join and learn the Suffern community. I'm going to be working very hard with Mr. Breen and others this spring to listen and to learn from multiple members of the community this spring and summer so we can serve our high school students best. So again, an incredible honor. Look forward to getting to meet each and every one of you. Thank you, Dr. Gunderson.
Thank you. And thus concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to Mr. Adler. Welcome aboard. Mr. Breen, thank you for all the years of service at the high school, and I think we all look forward to you and your new role in central office. All right. 1.12, public participation. This is public participation on action items only. If there are any comments to be made on our action items for tonight, you can please approach the podium. If you're not sure if this is the appropriate time to speak, there is a second public participation session towards the end of the meeting, which is on any district-related business. So if there's anybody who wishes to speak on action items, please approach the podium. All right, seeing as there are none, I'll close that portion of the meeting and move to our action items. For tonight, we have action items 2.01 through 2.24. Are there any action items that any board member wishes to pull from a consent agenda at this time? No? Yep. 2.23. Okay. Are there any others? All right. So then, so I'll call for a consent agenda. This will be for action items 2.01 through 2.22 and action item 2.24. Do I have a motion? Ms. Dickman, second. Mr. Shapiro, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against, any abstentions? Okay, 2.23. 2.23, this is a resolution of the rejection of a voter proposition. Do I have a motion? Motion. Mr. Donnelly, second. Mrs. Hodge, discussion.
Yeah, I just like a explanation in terms of what the proposition was, the process, and really the board's authority to reject it. So if you can give a simple explanation.
Sure. So the proposition was a proposition that was put forth by members of the community to, it was about armed security. And the reason why it's being rejected is because the community doesn't have authority to allocate funds in that way. So as a board, we don't have a choice but to reject it. It's something that we can discuss. It's something that we can take up as an item for discussion, which is actually on this agenda coming up in a little bit. It's just the method is not appropriate for us to approve a proposition in this way.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Okay. Then for 2.23, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? All right. Thank you. So we're going to go to our discussion items now. This is action item 5.01, which is school security. It's so this is a topic that unfortunately we find ourselves in a position to have to discuss. And the proposition that we received just happened to coincide with this. I think we had been waiting to put this on an agenda for discussion. I know there is some support to discuss the possibility and what it might mean to have armed officers in our buildings in light of the rash of mass shootings that occur in this country on an almost daily basis. So I'm going to open up the table here to any board member that wishes to start. Remember, this is not we're not making any decisions tonight. This is merely an opportunity for us as a board to sort of get a temperature for how we feel about, really taking this conversation to the next level. So I'm not sure if anybody wants to, if there's anybody that wants to start, or if anybody has anything they want to say. Okay.
Can you hear me now? All right. Okay. Very important topic. And there's a lot of variables that I see that have to be studied. But I remember in 2000 when I was assigned here to Suffern High School, I was a police officer, for those of you that don't know me, in the town of Ramapo, and I was the school resource officer here until 2017 when I retired. The current officer, Danny Lynch, took my place. It's great to have a police officer in every school. I would love to tell you we could do that. Financially, I know that's not going to happen. But what we do have retired police officers that have been trained, would have to recertify to be able to handle a weapon and add that extra layer of security at the school level. When these incidents happen, it's known that they last for about 12 to 15 minutes. By that time, the incident is resolved. The police are on the scene and they go and do what needs to be done. They go directly to the incident. I used to park my vehicle right in front of the building, so any person that had bad intentions would see that there's a cop in this building. They would know that they're going to have an adversary coming into this building. It was very important. I thought that was a critical place to park, and I believe Danny still parks there. Today, I support having our retired police officers armed within the building. They would be able to stop an assault as it's happening. And we know from studies, and all these shootings have been researched for years and years and years, going back to Columbine, and I believe it was 1997. We know that they look for an easy target, a school that has open doors, a school that doesn't have armed police officers, that don't have armed guards. These are the easier targets. If we look at that criminal 2 weeks ago that did that mass shooting of those babies, the cops got there in 3 minutes, I believe it was, and resolved the issue, but we still lost lives. There was notes found that the party knew that this was a weak building, that she would be able to gain access to it. And there was plans of other buildings, but those buildings had security, and she turned away from it. So I just want you to know that I'm supporting 110% having our police officers, our retired police officers, our security guards certified and quite capable of carrying a weapon in the building. And just to reiterate one other thing, when I was put here in 2000, parents were nervous that a police officer was in this building with a gun. There was concern about that. Well, I'll tell you what, God forbid we didn't have it here and something was to happen when we could have and should have done something. So I'm just saying my point of view is that, you know, we waste no time and move on with this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have?
So I have just a few comments on this subject, and I appreciate Tommy's comments and certainly his experience being in the building in a situation where he has to protect students, and I appreciate his perspective on this. At first blush, I think we look at this as a simple, everyone's going to agree, yes, we need to have as much protection of our students as possible. But thinking about it a little more, I think it is a more complex issue. Some of the actual studies and some of the research, I just did a quick look at it over the weekend, is somewhat inconclusive in terms of, was presence of an armed guard really much of a factor as far as choice of target and then end result. So I think a lot of what happens when an armed security guard is here is a perception of safety. I think it makes everyone feel better that, yes, there's an armed guard there. He's going to be there, and he's going to be there to deal with any situation. I also really want to reiterate that the training of these guards, I think, is paramount. I think it's really important that these guards are trained appropriately, they have experience, and they have knowledge to be around kids with firearms. Along those lines, Tommy mentioned retired police officers. Would this be a security guard unit that is an outside entity, or would it be employees of the district? That's another thing to think of. And again, along with everything else, it opens up liability questions, insurance questions. So just, you start to peel the layers back on this, and there's a lot there to unpack. I think I would support presence of armed guards in the school if we can iron out a lot of these questions, and we can be comfortable with the training, comfortable with the liability issue. I do think the most we can provide our students is the most important thing, is their safety, and I think it can be an integral piece in that.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. All right. So school safety is not a piecemeal effort. It's a comprehensive plan. And we already have a great deal of school security in place, both visible and not visible. Whether an armed guard would add to that is a question that the district needs to talk about and decide. It's not something we're rejecting out of hand. It's not something that we've decided upon yet. Part of the reason for appointing Mr. Breen was to get a better plan in place and see where our security needs improvement and where we can get consistent security across the board in all of our schools for safety. So I think, the way to think about this is not just throwing funds at one question, one guard, one this, one that, or another, but we will be talking about, looking at the data, and then deciding what works best for Suffern Central and school security. Yeah, that one works.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you hear me? Yes. I am 100%, 110% for the armed guards in the schools. As Dr. Nick Pond has said, we would need to take a look at the data out there, look at what's best for our students in our schools, and I'm sure we're going to have Mr. Breen come back to us so we can take a look into the best fit for this district. I am for it. The number one thing is to keep our students safe, and if we can deter this type of thing and run that criminal somewhere else, or even stop it before it gets to the door by letting them know, as Tommy said, having a car parked up front, or just by knowing that there's a presence of a police officer that's trained in this school, and we can engage that person before they arrive, before they even start the act of what they're going to do. And it's great to have the police in the community. We have a great police force here, but it takes time for them to get here. A lot of damage can be done, but if we have someone in the schools ready to address this, I think it will help with the safety of our students, and I'm 110% for it.
I'm super curious. I see a lot of high school students here tonight. I'm sure you didn't come here to talk about school security, but I think the climate within the school and the perception from the students is super important. So I'm very curious to hear what the high school students think about this, how they feel about it. And in addition to certification and training, I also think it's super important that if we do end up having armed guards in the schools, the way they present in the presence of our students is critical. I would never want a student to feel uncomfortable or nervous or on edge, so to say, due to a particular armed guard being in the school. I would hope that in addition to the certification and training to operate the weapon, there also might be some training to approach the students in the situation where we're all ensuring that everybody feels comfortable.
So I'd like to thank all the board members who commented on this topic. And yes, that is one of the reasons why we've hired Mr. Breen to be the Director of School Safety for the district, to really have that comprehensive plan. And I appreciate board members bringing up this concept of arming personnel to be that extra layer of school security. I want to reassure folks that are listening and in the room that we have a comprehensive school security plan. Every time you walk into a building, you see security officers, we practice drills, we have all sorts of mechanisms to really ensure the safety of our students. So I think what the conversation today is, how can we take our school security to that next level to be as responsive as we could possibly be, and as quick enough and as safe enough a manner as we possibly could be in the event of the unthinkable. Mr. Breen has been already engaged in the last couple of months in a variety of workshops, trainings. He's going to a 2-day seminar just in a couple of weeks now to really learn what the latest trends are in school safety. I look forward to working with Mr. Breen in this new capacity and perhaps coming back to the Board of Education sometime in the summer as we embark on the next school year to talk about what Mr. Breen believes we need to do district-wide to move forward. I'd just like to offer up one comment as well about arming school security officers. In my prior experience in a district in New Jersey, there was a law that was passed that allowed for retired police officers to be hired in a special law enforcement capacity by the local police department, where a school district would pay at a much lower rate than a SLEO salary, pay for these special law enforcement officers who had full police powers on the school campus. And on their uniforms, it said police. And the benefit there was that they were police in that building. They had wonderful relationships with students. They were the first face that you saw when you walked in. They knew folks in the community. They knew how to de-escalate situations. They built up relationships with kids. But most importantly, in the event of the unthinkable, when a whole slew of police departments are coming from all over the place to respond to an incident, the person armed with the weapon in the building was operating as per the training that the police department issued. So it wasn't a third-party provider. It wasn't a person hired by the school district. It was a legitimate police officer. I've been in contact with several state legislators to talk to them about considering such a law in New York State. I think it would be a huge benefit to school districts to be able to have that opportunity. And that's not to take away the fact that we would still have to talk about all the concerns that all the board members have here. But I think having something from state government come across that shows that they value that partnership with the local police departments, I think, is vital. And as we all know around this table, the relationship between Ramapo PD and Suffern PD and the Suffern Central School District is absolutely impeccable. They are wonderful law enforcement partners that we continue to work with, and any decision that we make will have to be, I believe, in consultation with them.
Absolutely. All right. So I do want to just thank everybody who's sitting up here, and understanding that everybody here has different opinions, and I do commend this board for working together so well and for listening to everybody's opinions and thoughts and ideas about a topic like this. This is something that's not going to get solved overnight, and I would like to make a recommendation, though, as Dr. Gunderson said, with Mr. Breen, easing into his new role, if we can set some time either towards the end of this school year or during the summer at a meeting to take the time to prepare data and different concepts of how something like armed personnel might work in our buildings. And we can have a much deeper conversation with a lot more information available. I think tonight was great just to put it out there as a topic that I think is floating around many districts these days. You can't hide from this conversation. And what I would like to say is if we can work on putting together a real informative presentation, in a few months that we can revisit and take a hard look at it, I think that'd be great.
Another thing I'd just like to add. I think that's a great idea, Matt, and I think this would give parents some time to think about their position and what their opinions are, so we can get a true community feel for what we're looking to do. And training is the utmost. Training. You can't train enough. So that would be a huge factor. And possibly we have to go out to some security and get additional bids and stuff. But that would be down the road. But I would like to get feedback from the parents and the community here. I think that's very important. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Before we close this, portion, are there any other comments that anybody has? Good. All right, again, thank you, everybody. And we're going to move over to 6.01, board member comments. Are there any board member comments at this time? I mean, I know Mr. Shapiro has comments, but.
6 pages.
Okay.
Maybe I should go first. I think I'm going to talk about an issue that brings our young people here tonight, and the letters that I've read over the past few days, and I just from my heart gotta tell you how I feel about this. Coach not only is a Mountie and played for us over the years. She's given her heart and soul to this school, and I'm devastated to see that a decision was made that I really have trouble supporting, and I don't support it. I let the board know I had to feel my true feelings out tonight. Coach, I just want to thank you for everything that you've done for Suffern over these years, and you'll sorely be missed by plenty of folks here in Suffern. I want to thank you for your years of service. Thank you.
All right, thank you. There are other board member comments? Mrs. Shapiro?
Is this working now? Yes, it is working. Great. Changing a lot of gears here. First, I want to congratulate Paul Adler on his board approval as the principal of Suffern High, beginning July 1st. Paul, I am sure that you will find the home of the Mounties an outstanding school filled with staff who go above and beyond the students of our school district. Some things that have happened in the past. On March 29th, the Suffern Central district-wide art show was held right here where we are this evening. The art talent that so many of our students have throughout all of our 7 schools is amazing. My personal art talent is limited because of my being colorblind, but I am a lover of art. I may not be able to tell you what color is in the piece, but I can see its beauty. Our art teachers in all of our schools are truly dedicated to their passion and their profession. This past Friday, April 14th, the Suffern track and field coaches hosted a massive multi-school county and state track meet known as Mountie Madness. And if you missed it, you missed an incredible event. Over 40 high schools and close to 2,000 athletes took part in this meet. I was fortunate enough to watch part of the meet along with my wife. It was her first track meet since the early 80s, and she really enjoyed it. I guess that's what you do with your wife on a Friday night, or at least what I do. Kudos to the Suffern coaches and members of the track and field team, as well as kudos to the staff members and security who helped to make this event a great experience for all of the athletes. Lastly, and most important, 4 weeks from today, May 16th, is the school district budget and school board election vote. The polls are open from 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. If you are registered to vote, make sure that you vote at your correct polling place. And if you're not sure what your polling place is, please call up the district and they will make sure that you'll know where to vote. Last year, over 6,200 voters came out. Let's try and get above that number this year. Spread the word to your neighbors, and let's get out the vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Dr. Nippon?
Just a few comments from me. First, I'd like to welcome Mr. Adler to the Suffern family, and looking forward to working with him. I'd like to thank Mr. Breen for his service as Suffern High School principal. Thank you. I'd like to congratulate the top 10% of the class. Always very impressive and great to see those names and hear the names of the colleges and what the kids will be studying in college. So congratulations to them and their families. And lastly, I would like to voice my support for Coach Conklin, Coach Bonnie Conklin, and really thank her for her service to Suffern High School and all of the time and effort she put in to coach and to help the team. So I would like to say thank you.
Thank you. Good comments? Okay, Ms. Dickman?
Yes. All right. So I also want to congratulate the top 10%. They are not only academically gifted, but so many of them were also in our musical, Once Upon a Mattress, which I saw, which was excellent. They're gifted in athletics. And the art show had an amazing turnout, and we saw just such beautiful pieces that everybody worked on so hard. And if you enjoy music and art, you can enjoy those year-round at Suffern Library. And a week from today is the vote on the Suffern Library budget. So seniors who are here tonight, who are newly registered to vote, go out there and flex your voting muscles before you do the school vote. And they really are such a wonderful partner with our district. They create such a welcoming environment for all of the elementary school students in this district, both public and non-public. And so let's keep that in mind. The budget for the library tends not to be publicized as well, and people don't know, but it is the easiest thing in the world to go do it. You'll be in there, in and out in 5 minutes, and they'll be so happy that you came. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Frazier?
Yes, thank you. I'm going to sound like a minor bird, I guess, now, because everything's been said that I wanted to say, and I always want to be the gentleman and let everyone else go first. So being that I am the gentleman, I'm going to repeat what they said. Congratulations to Mr. Paul Adler for coming to us as the Suffern High School principal. We look forward to many years of you being here and leading our high school students. Also would like to thank Mr. Breen for your service and look forward to continuing to work with you over at the district office. And as Ms. Dickman said, Suffern Library will be holding their library vote. Also, Sloatsburg Library is going out for a library vote, and that's on April 25th. I think the polls are from 9 o'clock to 8:30. Am I right, Mr.? 9:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. So please go out and support Suffern Library as well as Sloatsburg Library. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. Anything? Ms. Hodge?
So I want to talk about you students again. So I made a few notes because I'm not always so quick with the words. So we talk about so many important, so one of the reasons I love being on Board of Ed is when people show up to discuss their convictions, particularly when it's the students, right? So we talk about so many important things, and this is just tonight: security, leadership, academics with our top 10%, the arts, the board elections, and athletics. And it's so important that you guys continue to express your convictions. And it's so important that you're here and you're starting at this age, because this is your platform, and you're going to have a lot to say, and you're going to have a lot of feelings and opinions about things that happen in your lives. And I'm so proud of you for showing up, and I'm so interested to hear what each of you has to say. And just keep doing that. It's so important. So thank you for coming.
All right, thank you. We're going to close that portion of the meeting and go to 7.01. It's public participation. This is public participation on any district-related business. If you wish to speak, please approach the podium. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Please state your name, affiliation with the district, and please refrain from speaking about any specific district personnel or students. Thank you.
Hello. Does this work? Okay. Hi, my name is Maddie Leali. I'm a senior on the Suffern Girls Lacrosse team. We're all here just to say we support Bonnie Conklin, and we all support the speeches you're about to hear. We all wouldn't be here if we didn't care this much about her being here. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michaela Fay, and I'm a freshman at Suffern High School, and I play on the Suffern Girls Varsity Lacrosse team. I'm here to speak out on behalf of Bonnie Conklin. When I first picked up my lacrosse stick at 5 years of age, Bonnie was my first coach. I have felt so fortunate that she has continued coaching me up until now. Bonnie has taught me everything I know about the sport. In all of my years, Bonnie Conklin has been my coach. I have felt nothing but positivity and encouragement, and I've seen her give positivity and encouragement towards each and every player she's coached. She is constantly helping us evolve as players, and she brings a level of intensity that makes us strive for more than we even thought was possible. Bonnie has an incredible passion for the sport of lacrosse, and she is a fierce competitor. I can't imagine a better combination of strength than a coach. Bonnie always says, heads up, shoulders back, chest out. She has taught me to be a strong, confident, and independent woman both on and off the lacrosse field. Bonnie pushes me to be the best we can while always emphasizing the importance of sportsmanship and integrity. Bonnie came in as a varsity coach midway through last season. This was around the time I was pulled up to play on varsity as an eighth grader. I was obviously terrified to join a team that was so closely bonded and so talented. Bonnie believed in me and encouraged me to have the confidence I would need in order to make a contribution to the team. This is the same goal Bonnie has for each and every player on our team currently. She teaches us what we need to know to compete at a high level, and she continues to stand behind us even when we fall. Our team made it to states last year, and our expectation this year is to repeat this incredible accomplishment with even greater success. In order to do this, we need Coach Bonnie by our side. When I was younger, I looked up to the older girls who had Bonnie and Callanan as coaches. I wanted to be just like them because of how successful they were and how united they seemed. Many of these former players are now playing at amazing colleges as a result of the training and preparation they received from the Suffern coaches. It feels so unfair and unjust to not have the access to the same level of coaching that this team deserves. Coach Bonnie, Coach Callanan, and Coach Dana are all amazing coaches and strong role models. They're exactly what this team needs to compete and succeed. I hope you strongly reconsider Bonnie as a coach for the Suffern girls lacrosse team, and I urge you to take into consideration those who have grown stronger, better, wiser under her coaching. If you are truly factoring mental health into the decision, then I would think you would be interested to know just how much a negative impact not having Bonnie as a coach would have on many of us. I have dreamed of being on the Suffern varsity team since I was a little girl, and I cannot imagine doing it without Bonnie on the sidelines. This program has given our district so much success over the past 30 years. Please give back to this program what it deserves. Quality coaches and your support. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Quinn McCarran, and I'm a senior on the Suffern Girls Varsity Lacrosse team. I've been a member of the SGL program since kindergarten. Coach Bonnie was my first coach. She taught me everything I need to know about the sport and has aided tremendously in getting me, along with so many others, to play at the collegiate level. When I was younger, my teammates and I would often go to the varsity games, anxiously awaiting the time that we were there ourselves. It seems that nobody thought it was important to talk to any of us before making their own conclusions. What about our mental health? We work hard every single day because that is our passion. We want somebody to push us. We want somebody to elevate us. We want somebody to take us to the next level. We want to make it to states like we did last year. Coach Bonnie came to practice and everyone instantly bought in. She got everyone on the same page, which allowed us to make a postseason run. That is the same goal this year. Coach Bonnie is an integral part of this team and process. We ask that this approval be revisited by the board. When Coach Bonnie announced her return for this season, I was overjoyed to have her on the sidelines for my final season. I never thought that I would say this, but this course of action makes me contemplate being a part of this program and finishing out my senior year. This is not rec lacrosse. It is a competitive varsity sport. This team has a long tradition of excellence, and this would not be possible without exceptional coaching. Look at all the people who stand in support of Coach Bonnie. Does that not matter? How do all of these opinions hold no value, yet less than a handful result in the removal of our coach? Pushing Bonnie out is doing nothing but hurting the team. It will only divide the girls and diminish our ability on the field. I hope that the efforts of so many are not overlooked by the board, and that the overwhelming support for Coach Bonnie may help to reverse this rash decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Ruggiero, and I'm a junior here at Suffern High School. I'm currently a member of the Suffern Girls Lacrosse team, and I've been a part of the Suffern Lacrosse program for 8 years. I would like to start by saying that the Suffern Girls Lacrosse program is something that many people, including myself, are proud to be a part of because of the history of success that it has had. It is known that this success did not come naturally and that the coaches and players that have come through the program have created this culture. From the youth program all the way until the high school level, Suffern Girls Lacrosse is held to the highest of expectations, and that is because the program has proven to perform at a high level since it began. Coach Bonnie has been my coach since I first picked up a stick. She coached me in many different environments. She was my recreational coach, my club coach, and my high school coach. No matter what team I was on, she was always one of the coaches that had an impact on how I learned to play the game. From my personal experience, I do not think I would be the player or the person that I am today without Coach Bonnie. Coach Bonnie always made an effort to be at every practice, every game. She would take night shifts, stay up all night just so that she could help coach us. Since she gave her all for us, it motivated my teammates and I to try as hard as we possibly could because we knew how badly she wanted us to succeed. She encourages her players to try their hardest, and when at practice with her, you can tell how much she loves the game and loves to coach. Coach Bonnie has also helped many of the players on our team, past and present, further their academic and athletic careers in college. She always is sticking her arm out for me and many others because she truly cares about our future and our lacrosse experience. Having her as a coach at the high school will allow for our team to have many more opportunities than we would have otherwise. She encourages us to be our best and to try our hardest is all that she asks for. I also think that it should be taken into consideration that there are almost 30 girls on this team, and removing an integral part of the coaching staff midway through the season due to opinions of some is very hurtful. Knowing the potential that the team could have this year, it is in our best interest to have her on the coaching staff with us.
Thank you.
Hello. You working? My name is Kathleen Torres. I'm a mother of 2 Suffern Central student athletes and usually a proud, almost always a proud graduate of Suffern High School. A very long time ago, I was a celebrated 3-sport athlete here, and I played 2 Division I sports in college. I've spent all of my 35-year career to date in sports, in financial and government and leadership development roles. I've worked with some of the biggest sports organizations and brands and best and biggest financial institutions in the world. I've mentored, interviewed, hired, trained, developed thousands of young adults. Participation in sports or the arts is almost always a critical criteria for me. The reasons are obvious. Work ethic, resilience, collaboration, sportsmanship, learning from losses, goal setting, perseverance, confidence, dealing with disappointments, social life sacrifices. I repeat, the reasons are obvious. I returned to Suffern with my husband to raise my kids here. My dad was a school custodian for many decades. My sister's a teacher here also for many decades. I'm the president of the Reach Foundation of Rockland, proudly so. My husband has been a Little League board member, coached that, CYO. I taught CCD forever. You guys get it. This is not about me. I believe strongly, I wouldn't do this stuff like all of you. I believe strongly in the strength of this district and the community, in our administration and our teachers, our staff, our board, our coaches. Like everyone here, I could have chosen to live anywhere. I chose Suffern because as a child here, I was told the truth. I was corrected, I was encouraged, I was praised, I was criticized, I was humbled. I knew my kids would be treated the same way, and they have been. I'm also the treasurer of a national organization called WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We work to ensure the advancement of women in the business of sports. This mission is critical in all industries and across all stages of life for women. I'm here to strongly encourage the board to fully ensure that the lens we use to administer and evaluate matters relating to our girls' sports teams is the exact same lens that we use to do so for our boys' sports teams. Our young female athletes in this room and across all of our rosters deserves that commitment And our girls lacrosse players here and those not here deserve a full explanation of why the district believes Bonnie is unsuitable to continue as an incredibly impactful volunteer coach. They deserve the truth. They can handle it, assuming it justifies this result. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Joseph Gravagna. I have 2 children in the district. I have one at the middle school. Sorry.
Just
okay? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. My name is Joseph Gravagna. I have 2 kids in the district. I have one at the middle school and one at Viola. I actually want to talk about 2 quick things. A, on the issue of school security, I strongly support that. We should have to take a little bit deeper look. Besides, most of our security guards in the schools, I understand, are foreign cops, but they can carry, if necessary. Yes, I don't know what the requirements would be, that just to have them armed. I'm sure there's policies for the state on that, but they should be armed. Otherwise, we will be eventually, God forbid, a headline in the paper. And everybody will say, well, why didn't they act? And also, as a step further than that, on our reserve fund, we have more than enough money to have bulletproof windows in our classrooms and doors in our classrooms as well, that they could lock down a classroom in a second, from either the main office or from the teacher. So if something does happen, God forbid, there's no hesitation. Then the door's locked, they're bulletproof, no one's getting in that classroom. Now, on the separate issue about the lacrosse coach, as someone that's coached at every level in the sport of tennis, I coached in high school, I coached junior tennis, I've coached women tennis. It's outrageous that a coach would not be renewed if the team is that strong behind their coach. I'm sure there's issues the district can address. I understand that. But as the principal is here, I'm sure the athletic could come into the conversation with the board in executive session and hire it back immediately. As someone that's been involved in many, many years in women's sports, to find a quality high school coach is very difficult. As someone that does recruit women's sports at the college level, I know how hard it is, especially on the girls' side. If this would be the football coach, I'm sure you have 500 people in this room, and they'd be hired back immediately. If there's issues with the individual, whatever it might be, if there's maybe mental health issues or whatever that might be, I'm sure they'll get well and come back to their team. But as a board, you have the power and the authority this evening to rehire a coach. The principal is here. I'm sure the athletic will come into the conversation and have a rehire. It sounds like the board is strongly in favor of this particular coach. There's zero reason why they can't be rehired with the proper steps taken. Clearly, the team is behind them. And as someone that's been involved at recruiting our athletes at the college level, when I was coaching RCC, I think this board would be foolish not to do the right thing here and take a second look. Because as I said, as someone that has recruited every level, women's sports, it's very, 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 very difficult to find a quality coach that clearly loves their players and their players love her. But as someone, just in closing, I'd ask the board to reconsider that decision. If it's an issue with the individual, the coach, whatever she's going through, I'm sure she can get better if that's an issue on that side. But if it's more than that, I think it should be the board should have a second look. Because as I said, God forbid that team does not take the field for their coach will look real bad in front of the rest of the county. Because this board decided not to support their coach. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Deirdre Cosgrove. I'm an alumni of Suffern High School. I played lacrosse at Suffern High School. I wasn't sure if I was going to speak. I would be remiss if I didn't. I wrote it because otherwise I'll get off topic and probably emotional. So I'm going to stick to just a short. I've coached lacrosse with Bonnie now for over 8 years. I've completely entrusted her to guide my daughter in this sport and a few other sports. In the thousands of hours that I've spent with Bonnie, I have never, ever questioned her approach. I've never been uncomfortable with her language or felt that she did not treat each and every athlete with the respect and the encouragement that they deserve. What I do question, however, is this ridiculously narrow process that our district undertook to investigate concerns without consideration of variables that may speak to bias and conflicts of interest. I also question the extent to which our children's mental health is being protected by placing them in a whirlpool of chaos that has erupted as a result of your decision. Although I am not a cynical person, anybody who knows me, my glass is full, not half full, it's full. This experience has placed such a seed of distrust in me that I can't help but now question whether we have the district leadership that's capable of making these informed decisions that are unbiased and in the best interest of your greatest asset, our children. I would be willing to say you got more than well above 50, if not more. You got emails, you got things from the past, the present, and the future athletes. There are young female athletes in our youth program right now whose parents reached out because they see the wrong in this. They see that there are 25 girls here tonight. None of them are here against their will. None of them were bullied here. If you let each and every one of them speak, they're going to say the same thing. We need Coach Bonnie. She is synonymous with Suffern Girls Lacrosse. She has been in and out of this since 1992. She played here. She bleeds lacrosse. She doesn't get paid for all of these hours. She was at the Suffern High School last night. We were there until, 8 o'clock at night for free, coaching the 3rd and 4th graders, then the 7th and 8th graders. And you ask any parent who was on that sideline last night if they feel and they're worried about the way she speaks to their kids. I can't tell you, and there are kids here that played in the youth program with us whose parents reached out to me personally to say, I can't thank you and Bonnie enough. My daughter was having a rough day. My daughter wanted to quit the sport. We can't thank her enough because every single one of them mattered, whether they were the best, whether they're the worst. She may let them hear about it on the field, and when they come off, each and every one of them is explained exactly what she was saying, what they can learn from it, and she tells them all, and Michaela said it right. Ask anybody. And I ask you, Dr. Gunderson, to revisit the decision that you made and maybe sit down with these girls and hear what they each have to say. It's that important. This is a family, and it has been ripped to shreds in an untimely fashion at their expense. So I ask you, I know, I have to imagine if I go into policy procedure somewhere in that manual that it says somebody on this board can call a meeting and get a quorum and revisit the issue. And I have to say, us sitting until 2 more weeks to the next board meeting is not an option. We have a game on Thursday night. They need to be brought back together. So I'm asking and pleading that you revisit this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nicole DeBellis, and I'm a freshman on the Suffern Girls Varsity Lacrosse team. I support Bonnie Conklin, everything my teammates, Miss Torres, Mr. Donnelly, and Deirdre had to say about her. And I hope you really reconsider your decision because we need her here.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Torres. I'm an 8th grader and I'm on the Suffern Varsity Lacrosse team. This is my first year on the varsity lacrosse team, and I've looked up to some of these girls on my team and have been dying to be on this team for many reasons, but one of the biggest ones was being coached by this coaching staff. And I think that by taking it away, you're taking away a valuable resource, and something great could have come out of this team, and I really hope that you reconsider this offer. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julie Lorenzano. I'm a senior on the varsity girls lacrosse team. I just want to say I support Coach Bonnie Conklin 100%. I came into the sport a little bit later. I was not raised through the SGL program, but Bonnie was one of my first coaches for my travel team. And I have to say, at club and even at school practice, she's constantly pushing me, and she is one of the reasons why I became the player I am today, constantly pushing me, positively motivating me, and really inspiring me each day when I show up to practice to give it my all, and the results have really shown, especially last year. She was very impactful the moment she stepped on the field, and I really hope you reconsider your decision.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kathy Nickpon. A mother of students who graduated, but most importantly, I'm also a graduate at Suffern, like Kathleen and Deirdre, and I won't give the order of graduation, but I'll say we were all within a few years of each other and played together on the fields. So obviously sports and athletics are extremely important to what I feel is a development of moral, who you become as a person. So definitely SGL has been a part of my life for a very long time. And I didn't prepare anything specifically, just inspired to say something that after 4 years, I'm sad that you guys are here. That SGL, I'd like to have thought to come to the family that you guys deserve to be. And I hope that reconsideration can be made, as pointed out, to consider decisions made and discuss it more thoroughly, taking into consideration kids and what the impact means to students and student athletes. Parents, you know, we care about our kids, we care about their mental health and their outcome. But part of being a parent is also letting that child develop into who they're going to become and letting them do that on a field. Taking the hits with the pride is part of that. So just to take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gianna Moretto. I'm currently a senior on the Suffern lacrosse team. I originally wasn't going to speak tonight, but I wanted to just say that I support having Bonnie Conklin back, and I support my teammates 100%. Unfortunately, my senior year, even though I'm out on an injury, it's not definitely the way I want to spend my senior year. However, definitely having this family by my side has been truly amazing to watch, and having Bonnie there every day, even though I can't be on the field, she made me feel so special on and off the field, along with Coach Callahan and Coach Dana as well. And I just really feel that, you know, one Suffern's always promoted in this district. And if we truly are one Suffern, we would consider having her back as a coach.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Olivia Mohill. I'm a senior on the varsity lacrosse team. I grew up in the Suffern program, but never had Bonnie as a coach, like personally, up until last year. And in the past 2 years, she has been one of my favorite coaches, and I've been playing lacrosse for a very long time. I've had all different types of coaches, ones who will beat you down for every mistake you make, and ones who will praise you until you walk off the field thinking you're a perfect player when you play the worst game of your life. Being able to say that Bonnie Conklin was one of my favorite coaches, and like just being able to have been coached by her for the past 2 years has been an amazing experience. And like going into the college recruiting process, I looked for a coach like Bonnie because I knew people like her make people better, and they're such a family, and like we're all united because we all love the sport so much. So yeah, I really think you should reconsider your decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Margaret Samarone. I am a Suffern High School alumni, and I'm a parent of 3 children in the district, 5th grade, 10th grade, and a senior. And I have a couple of things to talk about. I was not prepared to talk, but I feel like the young ladies who got up and spoke, even with all of the emotion behind them, inspired me to talk about something that I feel passionate about. I heard you discuss having armed security at the schools, and I strongly urge you to move forward with that as quickly as possible. I know that certain things were spoken about, and it's not going to be decided in one day. Things have to be looked at, but please don't make this one of those 5-year plans. We don't have that kind of time. Every one of the headlines we have seen could very well be Suffern or any of our schools. And there's nothing more important than our children and the teachers and staff within the schools as well who would benefit from having armed security. I was part of getting the signatures in a very small way. I got a phone call on a Thursday night, and within about 3 hours, we had dozens of signatures for this proposition, which was to allocate a certain amount of money so that the board can consider its options moving forward with arming our security officers. We do have the police present, and it started with Officer Donnelly when he was here as an SRO, and now Danny Lynch. And that's extremely important, but it's one police officer. Police officers have vacation, they have sick days. There's times when the police are pulled out of the school for police matters. Maybe something happened at the school that ends up at the police station. And one person is not going to be able to effectively manage the threat that is against our children every day. The word that was thrown out was liability. I promise you, the liability of something happening to one of my kids because you talked in circles around it for years and years and years and nothing got done is going to be far greater than the liability of arming security and keeping our schools safe. What we have in place now is not good enough. Unrelated, I happen to have gone to school with Coach Bonnie. I don't know if she's here or not, but she is a fierce competitor and she's passionate. And I think that you can see in these young ladies and in their parents who got up to speak just how passionate they are about supporting her. I don't think that reconsidering a decision that's been made should be seen as a weakness. I think some of the greatest decisions that have been made are when people reconsider something and change their mind. And I don't think you'll be seen as weak. I think you'll be seen with a far more respect from the people who are here tonight supporting her. I don't know the facts and circumstances behind it, but listening to everybody speak tonight made me feel like I should say something in regards to that. Last but not least, you're here tonight to support your coach. I think sports, music, art, along with academics are so important for everyone developmentally. We're not going to have any of that if we don't get out and vote. So anybody who can get out and vote, if you're 18, go out and vote. If you have grandparents, neighbors, anybody, get them in the car and vote, because that, again, is a huge risk of us losing that if we don't get out there, because we know how important it is for your academic success. Sports and arts are going to be the first to go. So I hope that everybody can get out there, and I hope that you can listen to what everybody came to say, because I feel like there's a lot of emotion, passion, and facts that are behind what everybody here had to say tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nevin Sullivan. I'm a freshman at Suffern High School. I've been a part of the Suffern Girls Lacrosse program for as long as I can remember, and I've always dreamed of playing for this varsity team because we truly are just such a family. And Coach Bonnie is part of that family too. And this year wouldn't be complete without her. So I really hope you reconsider your decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Madison McCarran, and I'm a freshman on the varsity lacrosse team. I've been coached by Bonnie since I was in the 2nd grade,
and she's been the best coach I've ever had. I felt nothing but support from her, and I just really think you should reconsider your decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Molly Mitchell. I'm a sophomore on the varsity girls lacrosse team. I played for Bonnie since I was very young. Personally, I struggle a lot with my confidence, and Bonnie is one of the only coaches I've had in my many years of playing that has helped me with that. She always tends to find the little things that are going wrong to fix them, and that makes the biggest impact on my game, on our game. And she just changes our thinking. Whenever she steps on the field, she just gives all her intensity and shows her love for the game and the love for all these girls on our team. So I hope you'll reconsider your decision.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shannon Bella, a sophomore on the girls varsity lacrosse team. I've been playing lacrosse for 8 years now, and Bonnie has been my coach for almost every single year. Bonnie was my first coach ever and made me fall in love with the sport. Being honest, throughout this past year, I had debated on if it was right for me to continue my time playing for SGL, and the one thing that kept me going was the hope that Coach Bonnie would return and coach us. I've never met anyone who had a bigger passion for this sport, and I truly believe that Coach Bonnie is one of the best role models anyone can have and a true inspiration. I hope you can reconsider this decision.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jess Schelling. I'm a senior on Suffern varsity lacrosse team. I think everyone really stated it and did it very well, so I don't really want to keep going over what was said. But I just think that you guys should reconsider and help us get back on track from our main goal at the end of the season, just like we did last year.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Madison Damiani, and I'm a senior on the Suffern lacrosse team. And Bonnie is an amazing female role model in my life. And even though lacrosse wasn't like, I didn't grow up in the program, but just having her as a coach has like inspired me to keep going and playing because she's just an awesome role model, and she's very passionate about the sport. And I hope you reconsider your decision.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Ullman, and I'm a sophomore on the varsity girls lacrosse team. And I just want to say that Bonnie has always supported me. And a couple years ago, I suffered from an ACL injury, and she really helped me and made me continue to recover from that. And that was took a very hard impact on my mental health, and I didn't think I can go through it. And I was having doubts about coming back to the season. And she really brought me up and said, I can do it and I can get through it. And finally, I'm here back in my season. And even though I came back last year, I wasn't the same, but she kept motivating me to keep working and keep getting at it. And I'm finally back here 2 years after the surgery, finally back to my normal self again playing. And I really thank that to Coach Bonnie for helping me through that.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jillian Terlizzi. I just came back to play lacrosse a few years ago, and Bonnie was the first person to help me fall back in love with the game after I hadn't played for a while. So I just really hope that you guys could reconsider your decision.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ava Greenhut, and I'm a sophomore, a part of the Suffern girls varsity lacrosse team. And I'm here to support Bonnie Conklin and all the speeches that have been said by my teammates. Bonnie is an amazing coach, and she has more knowledge about the game than any other coach I've had. I started not
not that long ago, and I'm proud to say that she's raised me into the program, and she's done an amazing job with that. So I hope that you reconsider the issue.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Casey Schelling, and I'm a junior on the Suffern varsity team. And I just wanted to say that our coach Bonnie has been an integral part of our community for many years. She has dedicated so much of her time to coaching us, and her passion for lacrosse has inspired us all. Bonnie has been a mentor to many of us, and we've all learned valuable life lessons from her that go beyond the game. Last year, I was considering whether or not to continue playing the sport until Bonnie texted me to come outside to her car at 8 a.m., and she drove me to Starbucks and sat down and talked to me. She's the biggest role model I have and my inspiration. And so we are here together as a team and a community to show you how much we deeply love Bonnie, and that I strongly suggest you reconsider your decision.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Daniela Triviano, and I'm part of the Suffern varsity lacrosse team. And 2 weeks ago, I tore my ACL, and Bonnie was the first person who called me and reassured me that it will be okay. And even though it might not seem like it in the moment, like I'll get through it. So I really want her here to continue to support me and the team, and I hope you reconsider your decision.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alejandra Romer, and I'm here to support Coach Bonnie Conklin, and I hope you guys reconsider your decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just feel like I didn't say enough before. I thought I was just doing the intro and then everyone came up. So, I mean, Bonnie just means like so much to all of us. Like practices just haven't been the same, and like it just feels it's just not the same without her. We're just so motivated. Just like we see her get out of the car, we see her get to practice, we all step it up a notch. Like we just need her, and we want to. It's my senior year. Like I can't imagine like ending this whole thing without her. It just doesn't feel right. I only moved here in 8th grade, but because my mom like worked at the school, I always like came here for youth just for fun. And I knew Bonnie like when I was just little growing up, and when I moved here in 8th grade, like she was one of the people that reassured me like it'd be okay and I'd like be all right. Bonnie would come to my backyard, I'd go to her backyard, we just work on some little drills when I wasn't feeling too confident. And we just need her back. So please reconsider your decision. I mean, I don't know what more it takes than like everyone basically here on our team telling you like we just need her back. So thanks.
Thank you.
Sorry. My name is John Callahan. I've taught and coached here 27 years. I'm sorry. I'm proud of the girls and the parents for speaking up. I can't tell you what, well, the kids have, and they've done a heck of a job with it. But I've coached with Bonnie for pretty much all 27 years, and I can't even begin to tell you what she means to the program and to the community. You know, I grew up playing ball. as a kid, through high school, college, some of the most amazing people I've ever met. Some of the most important lessons I've learned from coaches. And some of the best people. Among the coaches I played for, worked with, coached against, I've never met anybody better. I've never known anybody better. All right, coaching is not exact science, and nobody's perfect. This was kind of thrust upon us on really Friday, and with very little. I've been coaching in the kind of the big cheese, if you will, since '97. I had no idea what was going on. I still have questions. So there's confusion, there's frustration. The program, played up at the wins and losses and all that stuff, but what it's done for so many young women since well before I got here is legendary. And my hopes are that it'll continue to do that, to be able to do that. I just don't see that happening moving forward without Coach Conklin on board. It's not going to be the same. And I think it's really going to hurt these kids that are here this year in the here and now. But it's also potentially, and I think almost assuredly, a decision with an outcome that's going to really destroy this program and really rob not just these kids this year, but moving forward kids for years to come of the opportunity to do what the program does best, and that's challenge young women and girls. Tell these kids, putting on Suffern blue doesn't make you a good player. It doesn't make you a good team. It takes work, a lot of work, and we're straight up with these kids. Our expectations of them, whether it's on the ball field, obviously in the classroom, the hallways, in the community beyond, is more than we expect out of the vast majority of kids. So to jump in and make the decision to play, it's not a decision the kids take lightly, and we understand and respect that. They're all here on their own volition, if you will. I'm still not sure why we're here. I appreciate people taking the time to be here, but you heard the girls. I mean, in all honesty, my name might be on the top of the letterhead. She's their coach. And I've learned more from her than any other coach I've ever known. And I've learned as much from her as any person I've ever known as well. But more importantly, the girls have as well. So I'm not familiar with the procedural elements involved, but I beg you to reconsider. And I assure that there's got to be a better way to do this. That whatever the issue is, or whatever the issues are, that they can be worked out, and we can preserve, and even improve on what we have. Because that's been one of the secrets to not just the program success, but the success of the school and the district and the community here. We're resilient people, and but we make mistakes. I make mistakes, and you have one gentleman said earlier. It's not easy to get good people. It's increasingly more and more difficult, and we see that. And to lose somebody like Coach Conklin, who was a gem, would, what do you think, do a lot of harm to a lot of kids. So again, I ask that if there's a will and there's a way, there needs to be a will, and there should be a way to fix this. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers before we close this session? No? Okay. And I thank everybody for their time, for their passion, everybody for speaking tonight. Thank you very much. (8.01) Superintendent closing comments.
I'd just like to thank particularly our student athletes for coming this evening to really share your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on this matter. It does matter what your opinion is, and just know that this board and I are listening to what you say, whether it's here at the podium or in the emails that you send me or the personal conversations that we have. You did a great job this evening sharing your viewpoints, and I appreciate it. This concludes the superintendent comments.
All right, thank you. Okay. So that will conclude our meeting. That'll bring us to the end here. I would make a motion to adjourn. Prior to that, I do just want to say our next meeting will be Tuesday, May 2nd. It'll be here at the high school. It'll be our tenure recognition night. And thank you all very much for coming. Thank you to everybody who came and spoke. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Ms. Dickman, second. Mr. Shapiro. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you all very much. This meeting is adjourned. We will see you in 2 weeks.